Good to go? Yep. All right, let's start it up. I'm really excited to be teaching classes again. It was something I've always done in my career. And with COVID, obviously, a lot of people weren't able to do that anymore. Doing it in person is a little bit more exciting for me rather than just on Zoom. I'm not much of a Zoom guy. A little bit of background on me. I've been a licensed real estate agent since 2003. And I've been with Keller Williams since 2006. I started in Keller Williams, North Bergen. My team is No Property Group. A couple humble brags, you know, we're a very strong 5-person team. We're not very big, but we did a lot of numbers last year. We sold just under 50 million, 108 transactions. And what I'm most proud of is that, you know, we brought in $1 million in commission between 5 agents, and every agent on the team was at least 6 figures. So that was a big goal for me.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
No, I'm not kidding. Did you just say every
Yeah, you heard
5
that.
people on your team
Yeah,
and each agent on the team 6 figures?
yes,
$1 million divided by 5.
Mhm.
yes,
Ish.
yes.
You're smart.
I did. It was a big goal, and look, everyone worked for it. I've got some people on my team here. We got a new team member too, Kanisha, my admin.
Welcome.
Woo.
Yeah, I finally got one. Everyone's pushing me, my team, my wife, team leaders. Well, we got one here. She started last week, and she's training. So I'm going to be semi-organized with my paperwork eventually at some point in my lifetime. So, you know, we really do things a certain way, and I think that's why we get certain results. And I'm not someone that's looking to have a team of like 20 people. I think sometimes it's quality over quantity. And I've really liked Keller Williams from the beginning, and this is why I've been here with Keller Williams for about, what's the math? 15, 16 years I've been a Keller Williams agent. The big thing about Keller Williams is they were one of those first real estate brands that started businessizing real estate. A lot of people come from an old school mindset of you're either a broker or you're an admin or you're a real estate agent. And Keller Williams came to me at least as an opportunity to do so many other things. I mean, just even within this office, there's probably like 8 to 10 different types of businesses being run here. Okay, there's a broker, and then there's a franchise, and there's property management within this building. A couple of agents are trying to do that. Some agents have been great agents and have started teaching classes similar to this and have turned that into a business. They're at family reunion. They're traveling from state to state, office to office, being paid to teach agents and to develop skills and things of that nature. And I think Keller Williams has always been about businessizing your business. So even within my team, we're all partners. Nobody there works for me, and they all have their own small businesses. And I have a small business, and we're all working on our umbrella of Know, and there's a lot of benefits to doing it that way. So that's something that I think Keller Williams was on the forefront of when it came to real estate. With that being said, I think that this class is more important than ever because I'm hearing it myself, and I've been telling my team this for a while now. I'm like, look, if we're not finding ways to get listings, I mean, this business is hard right now, and I don't know if it's going to get any easier. I mean, working with buyers is great, and everyone, the first thing they want to do is they want to say, oh, I don't really want to work with buyers anymore. But buyers are 50% of the market. There's no way to get around it. But a lot of people are realizing that that 50% of the market is in a really tight space right now. And if you're not finding ways to get listings, you're preparing yourself. And I said this word for word to agents on my team and agents that are asking me, you know, what's going on with the market. I'm like, if you're working with buyers only, or you're having your business as buyers, you better be prepared to stand in the cold this weekend for about 2 hours, at least minimum. You better hope it's not raining outside, to get into a house to see it for 10 minutes and then basically have to like drop your pants to get it. I saw the house, I like it. We're gonna be going up against 20 other offers, so I'm gonna go 50,000 over ask, I'm gonna waive everything. And there's still a 90% chance you're gonna get an email eventually at some time, no matter how many times you ask for a follow-up or an update. Sorry, you didn't get the house, the owner with a different offer. So if that is your plan, to do half your business this way, it's gonna be hard to make money in 2022. It was harder in 2021, and it's gonna get, looks like it's gonna get a little bit harder right now, unless the spring, summer market opens up some inventory like it did last year. But we just don't know how much it's gonna open it up. And we've got so many other factors going on that everyone has to be paying attention to: interest rates, inflation, things of that nature. So if you're not looking to prospect, if you're an agent that coins the famous phrase is, I kind of work off my sphere, which is great. And if you have a big, powerful sphere, it's awesome. I have a big, powerful sphere, but I'm in year 19. So I can say that sometimes I'm leaning on my sphere more than normal. But if you're living strictly off your sphere, you're gonna start noticing that where's the deals then? Because your sphere can only produce X amount of listings per year. Sphere is just regular people. These aren't people that are in the business of putting their house on the market every year. So you can have a powerful sphere and get a couple of listings. Great. You can have a powerful sphere and get a lot of buyers. Great. But we've got to be able to find listings and deals from people we don't know at all. The random deal from the random person is the real money in this business. My sphere is my base of my business. I know if I just keep my phone on and it's ringing, it's gonna ring, I'm gonna get X amount of deals, I'll make X amount of money, but it's not enough for my goals and what I'm looking to do. So I've got to find ways every year to make money from people who I don't know at all, that I don't have in my sphere and that I'm not running into on a regular day. And they're not calling me off of Zillow or off of an ad or off of a sign. And right now this market is like, if you can't find random deals, you're going to be struggling to transact. Pricing is high, but how can you get the volume? Like, you need transactions. You need, a lot of houses available so that you can get to like 20, 30 transactions. 20, 30 transactions for a single agent is not bad. You make good money that year. And to find these transactions is hard right now. So we've got to find the transactions, and the transactions are in the prospecting. Prospecting is a part of the business that people try to get away from as soon as their phone starts ringing a little bit. All right, cool. I grinded for a year, maybe two. My phone's starting to ring a little bit. I know some people. I'm posting on Facebook and social media, and I'm getting a few calls. I'm getting a few deals going, and that's great. And then now they're not really prospecting anymore. They're good. And in this business, it's like so hard to just be good. The market goes up and down. I've gone through the market crash of 2007 where it was a little sketchy, or the market tightens up like it is now, our inventory is pretty low, and we're going to have to find ways to get deals with random people, and prospecting is going to be the only way. You can pay for leads, and I pay for some leads, and paying for leads is cool if you can convert them, and you can do the math at the end of the year of how much did you make for those paid leads and were they worth it? Because not every paid lead is a good lead. And there's a lot of ways to get leads and build database and build sellers and buyers without spending a lot of money. And as I said before, this is a small business. Nobody here is an employee. No one here is getting a salary. So as a small business, you've got to think, how can I get leads that I can afford and I can convert? They can fuel my business until I've got a bigger business, and maybe I can spend more money into my business on leads or marketing or branding or farming. How do we get from there where you're starting? I think a young agent is still like 5 years or under. I mean, this business is like a forever business. Like, they're saying a lot of people peak 40s and 50s, like I mean, I'm not even at my peak yet. I got like a 20-year run ahead of me. And I love real estate, so I'll be glad to do it. But some people want to retire early, some people have other plans. And man, this business has so many ways to make money, so many styles, so many different channels to get income. And if you can start building one business from scratch, which is actually learning how to sell real estate, then now you open yourself up to all kinds of other opportunities, whether it's building a team, whether it's coaching all across the country, whether it's property management, whether it's developing, whether it's flipping houses or buying and becoming a landlord. If you learn how to do this real estate game as your primary skill set and source of income, and you do it well, and you learn it good, I mean, you're gonna be able to make money a lot of different ways. My business has always been about trying to find different ways to make money in the same business. That way, they all can just feed each other and leverage, and that's what Nobu's all about. We all help each other and feed each other. We're trying to make the money, but if we can make it easier, let's do it. But it starts with doing some of the hard work, which is gonna be prospecting, following up, making calls, things that nobody really wants to do, but these are the things I think we have to do in order to build that base. And then what do you do once you have that base? Once you're an agent year 5, year 6, and you know your phone's ringing, and maybe if you do nothing, your sphere can get you maybe 100 grand. Okay, now you've got a base. What are you going to do with it from there? Some people will coast. Some people will say, you know what, 100, 150,000 in this business, it's probably not that stressful. It sounds like it's probably like 20 transactions, depending on your zip code that you're doing most of your business in. You do 20 deals, like 150, and you're cool, and you could probably coast on that. And there's agents that are doing that. I'm not knocking those people. I think that everyone has to figure out what's the life that they want. And I think Keller Williams is big on preaching that. I think there's a saying here where it's like a life worth living or something like that, or a life by design. My life is without a doubt by design, but I'm not designing it day by day. Like my team hears me talking about 5, 10-year goals. I know my team's 5 and 10-year goals too. So I know when we're all on that pace, or when we're off, I'm like, hey, look, we want to get here by year 5. We got to do all this stuff we don't want to do right now. But I've done a lot of stuff I don't want to do, and that's what got me here in my team. So a lot of my business started with, originally I came in, and Keller Williams was a big time cold calling office. Keller Williams has always preached cold calling, prospecting, scripting, calling people, handling objections, and I've done a lot of training with that. And Keller Williams is great with training. They've got classes like this that I'm teaching, and they've got things like bold, and they've got match, and they've got all these different avenues where you can learn how to become a better agent at whatever it is you want to become better at. So what I did is I spent a lot of time taking classes, figuring out the language, because language is something we always talk about in the team. Is because if you can't speak like a powerful agent and project confidence, I think sellers and buyers are going to recognize that, and it's going to be harder to get people to do what they need to do. Usually what you want them to do is what they need to do, but you've got to be able to get them to do it, because sometimes they don't want to do what you want them to do. And most of the time that happens because they don't believe that you know what the right thing is, or you're not looking out for their best interest, so there's no trust in either you knowing what you're doing or trusting that you're not there just simply to try to get them to do something that can get them a commission and make some money. Because we're in the business to make money, but as soon as you're in this business strictly to make money, is as soon as usually you're out, because the money takes a while to make in this business, and it's not easy. So if you're here going, hey, year 1, if I can make 100 figures, I'll stay in, which Yahira did last year, which is very impressive, very rare. The only person on the team that will do that. But if you can't do that in your first year, and you're thinking that that was your goal, you're probably going to be in for some disappointment, and then that can break a lot of agents.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got bills coming every first of the month. They don't care if the deal got delayed, fell apart, if it's taking too long to get it under contract. Bills are here every month, creeping down, and if we can't keep stuffing things in our pipeline, then it's going to be stressful, and a lot of times we're going to break down, or we're going to get out of it. Yeah, there's going to be days of crying on people's shoulders. I got wet shoulders over here, trust me. And there's going to be a lot of, hey, I thought this was going to be easier. No, I'm depending on this deal to close. And it's like, hey, look, if we're coming in just to make money, this business is going to suck. If you could come into this business with this plan of being somebody at year 5 and a plan for being somebody year 10 and starting a business, because we're starting businesses. Just like if you go to that local, if you go to across the street in one of those businesses, they'll be like, well, my first year of business, I think I broke even. I worked like a dog. But that's actually not that bad. A lot of businesses are closing their first year. So if you can get into year 4s and 5s where there's some money there, there's some easier money, because there's money, hard money in this business all day. You're just working 24 hours a day, 80-hour weeks, or whatever the case may be, you're gonna make money. But it's gonna be like, all right, what am I making per hour? What am I making per call? How how am I converting? Am I getting better? Where's my skill set? So I think a lot of times people come into this business for some quick money or for the big money they see agents making, and it's there, but it's there long term. It's there down the road. That's the honest to God's truth. I mean, there's a couple people who do it right away, but to really make it and be able to maintain it and be able to do it again the next year, because some people have good years and they look at themselves like, how the hell am I going to do this again? How am I going to get all these deals again? And I know how I'm getting my deals. I don't do that at all. I haven't for a long time. I know exactly where my deals are going to come from. And we're going to push to get more using different channels, or whatever the case may be. This year, we're trying to do 150 deals. A lot of deals with 5 agents. It's a lot of deals.
That's a lot.
Yeah, with no inventory, it's a lot of deals. So we're really going to have to go and dig out and get them. And I'd like to teach you guys some ways on how to do that.
How you doing that?
So let's start with the most important, the cheapest way. And I would say the cheapest way is going to be 2 different ways. Any Keller Williams class is going to have it. Making calls. You can make calls for nothing. You come here. I think we even, we have landlines, right? We have landlines here? Yeah, no. Everybody has unlimited. I didn't sign out. We all have unlimited minutes. There's unlimited minutes for like 10 years now. We all got unlimited minutes at least. Remember, we have a space to make calls?
Yes.
Okay. Remember, we can't make the calls for free. So I'll tell you what, there's no one in this office made more calls than Elvis. I see him come here, park his butt right there from the first day I ever met him till still today with sheets, just calling numbers, just like a machine. But Elvis, as a young agent, was getting listings. And listings, I know everyone wants to be a master listing agent. And listings are hard, man. Listings are tough. It's a job. Listings are not like buyers. Listings are, how come you didn't sell my house? You didn't put this on the description. Where are you now? Why are we doing 2 open houses today? Why don't we do 3 open houses this week? Why isn't anyone buying it? Why? I know it's overpriced, but. So it's not the same as buyers. It's like a job, and they're hard to get because you're going up against the best agents. Like when you're looking for trying to chase listings, at least in my territory, you're going head to head with me. You're going head to head with a couple of other top agents. And it's like, man, there's a lot of pressure there. Because me, I have my script memorized for like a decade now. So it's like, I just show up with nothing. Like, and it's just bah, 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 bah. I'm asking all the right questions, getting all the right answers, and then lining that goes up with all the next questions, all the next information. I'm ready to handle any objection. I'm just like in the matrix, green numbers coming down, and you're this rookie agent, and you're like, well, I don't have any listings, but I promise you I'm gonna work harder than everybody else. And I won't be distracted because this will be my only deal, and this is how I'll get it, because this language I used to use when I was a young agent, sometimes it works. If you're putting in the work, you're getting in front of people. Where are you from? Richfield, you said? Richfield Park. Richfield Park. So this kid, like a couple months ago, had a listing in Union City. I'm like, how long have you been in this thing?
Hey, look at her.
Then you don't want North Bergen. I was like, so I gotta worry about you too? Like, are you starting to like come for me? And he's like, oh, I made a call. I said this, I did that. And he's playing out scenarios. Even sometimes he'll bounce some things off me where I'm like, man, this kid's hustling. And this is what it's gonna take, I promise you. Because if you're just here to say, okay, my friend calls me, we're gonna go out, I'm gonna do like 10 showings, take 10 losses on the bidding wars, get frustrated with each other, and then do it again for another 10 showings, then we're not gonna be making a lot of money, we're gonna get frustrated. We gotta be able to chase these listings. And I think the first way is to make some calls to your sphere. Now, what your sphere is a little bit of a gray area, because you can try to bring people into your sphere because you know them or a degree of separation or something like that. So I'll give you an example of some of my sphere. My sphere is in the town that I do most of my business. I'm from there. So I've got a sphere just going out there, all the people that I know, all the people that I've grown up with. These are the people that either they have property or their parents or their uncles, so I'm getting a lot of referrals. I have a college sphere. So I went to college, went to FIU in Miami. They have a very big following of alumni in New York and New Jersey, going to those events earlier in my career, building my sphere there. Random things, like even Nico was telling me that he used to play flag football. I played flag football for like 13 years. And man, it's been one of my best fears by far. One of the biggest agents in Bergen County, Sheldon Neal. Him and I played flag football together for about 13 years. We're always talking about how big the spheres have been from just playing flag football. You've got, maybe you were in a sorority, I was in a fraternity, maybe you're into politics, you've got political sphere, you've got people you know from your school, your kids go to school, my kids go to school. I moved to Fort Lee like 3 years ago. So my kids have been in school for 3 years there. I'm already building a sphere. Like I go to these people's play dates and I'm like, oh, house is nice. Nice ranch, look like you renovated that 5 years ago. Oh, that's great. One just sold out at 5. It was like bidding war, $9.99. This is not me casually talking. I'm only talking real estate, but I'm just planting little seeds. Sometimes I'll go out of town, someone else's house is in the area, and I'm like, a few houses are sold just in that neighborhood. So when the right time is right over dinner, I'll throw a few things out there. Damn, I didn't really know about like Mawa. I'm like, I said shit about Mawa. I don't plan on it, but just in case you decide to sell, you know, I came over and I knew a little bit about Mawa when I was there. So it's like, I'm always trying to tap into my sphere because honestly, it's the easiest, cheapest money that you can make. And it's very easy to call your sphere. It's not a cold call. This is a hot or warm call, depending on how tight the sphere is. You're having different types of conversations, but we've got to have conversations with a purpose, and then they've got to be somewhat business related, and they can be ended quickly so that you can make some more calls, because you're not going to want to sit there and make calls for 3 hours. No one, very rare people do. There's a couple agents I know specifically in Hudson County that time block. So they're going to go from like 9 to like 11, and their voicemail is going to say, right now, I'm not available. I'm currently prospecting, looking for buyers for my sellers and sellers for my buyers, and things of that nature. You'll see people actually have these other voicemails. They're really blocking their time. And they're saying, if I can go in there and make calls for an hour or 2 hours, just undistracted from anything, I can probably get more done than the average agent who just kind of wanders around throughout the day. Kind of, I'll do a little bit of this, I'll do a showing, I'll send in a contract, I'll have lunch, make a few calls. Next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock, day's over. How much actual work did we do? Because like in real estate, I don't know that many people putting 40 hours in on real estate. No way, no way. The average agent is not spending 40 hours on real estate. The average agent is spending time as a real estate agent, but actual things that make money and things that really feel like real estate, like prospecting, like following up on past prospects, like door knocking, calls, showings, appointments, follow-up, feedback. No, to do 8 hours of that a day is tough. You really got to work, and you really got to cut out a lot of the extra in between your day. So to me, first step you're really going to want to do is you're going to want to call your sphere. Even now, even as a seasoned agent, these people haven't been reached out to. Maybe they're following me on Facebook here and there, seeing your update. But how many times have you sat down and said, let me call my sphere for an hour? Where's your sphere at? Well, you could just be in your cell phone. Ideally, it's in command in your database, and you know who they are, what they bought, when they bought it, what they were looking for, et cetera, et cetera. But if it's not in your database already, you can just pull up your phone, pull up your Facebook, and say, you know what, let me call people for like an hour. We have a script in our team. I gave it out. It's a simple script, and I can give it out to anybody, but it's just more about just saying, hey, what's going on? I haven't spoken to you in a while. My team last year did really good in real estate. I hope everything's good with your house. We're really just trying to help more people. Last year, we helped 180 families. We want to help 150 families. We just want to know if you know anyone looking to buy, sell, or rent that can help us out, that you can tell them because we're happy with how we helped you. I mean, damn, that's almost the whole script. We're done. Be quiet, wait for them to talk. Because a lot of scripting, a lot of talking is about not going to call people to jam what you want to say down their throat. A lot of times we're just talking, same thing, preferably asking questions, and then being quiet, waiting for people to respond. And it's a great way to speak to people when you're negotiating. Tonality, language, there's courses on this stuff. I've taken them. It's almost like acting. It's like, how can I not be rambling constantly? How can I not be looking like I'm trying to be a salesman? How can I turn into a confidant, a trustee, an advisor? This is when now we have a lot of power. When my clients feel like they can trust me, I'm their advisor, They do whatever it is I tell them to do, and usually everything I'm telling them to do is for them to win, for them to get what they're looking for, for them to win the bidding award, for them to sell their house in a timely manner, or get them into another house contingent upon selling this house, and do all these things. So we want to get into that space, but first, we're gonna have to really put in the work. So we're gonna call people on our sphere events once calls.
So, sorry,
Shoot.
so I have to go, I am going, not I have to, I want to go. Saturday, going up.
Okay.
So you're gonna knock on the door,
Mhm.
like yesterday, for example, I came out of the house, right, but then I saw the neighbor coming out. And I know he's older and I know he's gonna get ready, so I just kind of ran into his house and started a conversation. I'm like, "Hey, that's it." So, but maybe.
I love Trader Dave's.
I'm
I'm not a little guy popping out.
I walked on the wall.
We're gonna get to the door knocking, so finish your question, I'm gonna get to that, I'm gonna finish with that, because honestly, that's the base of Noble, and that's how I made my business. I was a
But
massive
you
door
like-
knocker for over a decade.
But like I'm saying, maybe that was a little too aggressive, so when you're knocking on the door, what are you saying? I mean, that's
I
scary.
feel like I don't wanna tone down people being too aggressive, because most people aren't aggressive enough. I think your energy should be aggressive, but the way that you're talking with people should calm them down. Because usually the first thing I want to do is disarm them. So usually, especially at my size, I'm gonna door knock, then I'm gonna take like 3 steps down. So like by the time they get there, I'm like almost eye to eye with whoever comes out. And the first thing I'm gonna say, the first thing anyone on my team's gonna say is, what you hire? What are we gonna say?
Not trying to sell you anything.
We're not trying to
Wait,
sell you
We're just gonna
anything.
give you information.
Is that what you say?
Yeah.
We are not trying to sell you anything. Is it a little bit? Maybe, or maybe not. The truth is, most of the time, we're not trying to sell anything. I mean, we're usually, if you're, for instance, listing the house next door, and you're door knocking the person to come by your open house, you're not trying to sell them the house next door. So we're not usually always trying to sell them anything. What we're trying to do is tell them we're really good at selling things. And then we also want to tell them what their neighbor's house is selling for. And people are nosy, neighbors are nosy. We have to pray on that every day. Was that what Pharoah I told you yesterday? Man, if we're not taking advantage of the nosiness of human beings, man, we are wasting this huge sector of business that social media has absolutely dominated and turned into $1 trillion business. People are nosy and they want to know what their house is worth. That's why Zillow's hot, they trash these estimates. Realtor.com, because they want to know what their house is worth all the time. They want to check it every couple of months. They want to know what their dream house is selling for. They want to know what their neighbor's house looks like inside. So that's why they come into the open house or looking on Zillow for it. So it's like door knocking is really about tapping into their nosiness and really getting eye to eye with listings potential. Like, how hard is it to pay for a lead that will get you on inside of someone's house? They're not offered that often. Zillow has almost none. There's very few people telling you they have 10 Zillow listings. That doesn't happen a lot. The fastest way to get inside someone's house, talking to someone, maybe previewing your house, doing an on-the-spot CMA, and preferably setting up a showing for another CMA shortly after, is going to be door knocking. And it's basically free. And it's like cardio too. That's what you hired me yesterday. So I don't want to jump off the door knocking just yet, because I want to go through that whole step. And I think that it's something that everyone needs to incorporate into their business some way, somehow. But I really want to just get the understanding out there is that if you want to make business in 2022, you need to be prospecting somehow, some way. And preferably prospecting for listings, because there's no inventory. If you get the listing, the buyers can be found. You may be having like 20 that you can't find anything for right now. And sometimes you can put them right into a deal off market. A good percentage of our deals never make it to the market. A lot of our stuff is just, we've been door knocking them for a while, or prospecting them for a while, and they're like, hey, we want to sell. Well, hey, look, we could do it this way. Or if you don't want a ton of people in your house, if you want to stage it for photos, all these things, I may have a few people, I can preview the house for you, give you an idea if they're interested or how they feel about the price. And if we bring you some offers, you think maybe we could get the deal done that way rather than put it on the market, probably half the people will say yeah. And a lot of times that's how we sell property. Just never hits the market. We double-ended both sides of the deal. And we helped the buyer, we helped the seller, everybody won. And we didn't have to do any of the extra stuff. We didn't have to compete against anybody else. We didn't have to prep it. We didn't have to do open house, have agents mad at us because they didn't win the bidding war, none of that stuff. Just went under contract, got done real quickly, on to the next deal. And it's very hard to do that if you're not prospecting for listings. It's gonna be much more difficult to get an off-market property. Go ahead.
Me?
Or you're just smacking your lips.
I did. That was on
All right, so with that being said, I think sphere of influence calls are the easiest calls to get you warmed up. And then at some point you can take it to the next step because some people are really good at it. Some people like it, some people don't. Straight cold calling. I've seen Elvis do it. I've seen certain other people in his office do it. And that's just calling FISBOs and expires. And I think calling FISBOs and expires, if you do it consistently, you have a system, you follow up, you get better every year, every day, every year with your tonality, with practicing with other people in the office. A couple of my agents have called me in the morning and then we turn right into a script. Hey, what's going on? Hey, this is Luisa Gonzalez just calling because I saw that your house came up and that's it, we're in a role play. And it's live and we're ready. And it's all about that tonality. It's all about asking the right questions because I very rarely have these long conversations with my clients. A lot of times it's really just feels like it's a conversation, but I've internalized scripts that I've practiced and taken classes and studied and done so that now that I'm talking to you, you're being scripted the whole time. You have no idea. I can throw a joke in the middle of it, loosen everybody up, and then ask you a question about, well, how long ago did you buy your house? Why am I asking that? I want to know how long they bought their house because I want to know probably what they paid for it. Because usually I know if they bought it this year, what it was going for, because knowledge of your territory is very important. And I pride myself on it. A lot of times I can just shout out crazy statistics on houses and homes, and who lived there and who did it. And it's like a wow factor, but it takes time getting reps, picking a location and saying, look, I'm the most knowledgeable here and I can prove it. But you're calling these FISBOs, you're calling these expires, and you're scripting them because you're trying to get to the door. And then hopefully you can convert them. So you can be a guy like Elvis, who is not from Hudson County, is a newer agent, but he's been able to get a few listings here and there in these towns when most people aren't getting any. And if he stays on that path and gets better and sharper, it'll be easier to convert because we're all as good as our conversion ratio. It's the most important number in real estate. If you need to see 100 people to do a deal, means you're not very good at converting yet. It means you're gonna have to work with a dog to get to those 100 people. Me, I'm at a point where I feel if I see 10 people, I can convert 8 or 9. But now my time is broken down differently. I've set my business up differently because I don't have time to get in front of 20, 30 people every day. I'm actually trying to reduce the amount of people that I'm being in touch with so I can be more valuable to my partners at Noble, my partners in my other businesses and things of that nature. So everybody has to have a plan of who they are, what business is going to be, stick to that plan and keep powering it through. And then eventually your business will be just the way you want it. It's not going to have an accident. Okay. So prospecting has to be, especially early on, but at the base of your business. Now, how I built most of my business is through door knocking. And the reason why I ended up becoming a really big door knocker is I realized that I'm really good with people and I'm better face to face than I am on the phone. So to me, I'm a social person in general, and I like to talk to people all the time. So you're putting me in what I like to do and my best chance to do it, and it doesn't cost me anything or almost nothing. So it's like a match made in heaven. Like an agent could start tomorrow, their license tomorrow, be door knocking the next day, and maybe get a listing. Yahira, how was it before you guys? How many months were you in before you had your first listing? Door knocking.
Less than 6 months.
Okay, so Yahira was in less than 6 months. Of door
Sorry, can
knocking.
I ask you a question? How many doors is in our office?
Hey, girl. I don't even worry about how many doors, you know, we just hit the blocks. So when you finish the block, then you did.
It was the third time.
It was the third time.
Yeah, like not 6 months of straight door knocking, like she wasn't even comfortable with door knock yet.
Door knocking.
And I hated door knocking every day.
Okay. Yeah.
It was uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
But because I was not doing it by myself and I already had kind of like a mental note of what I was trying to say. It was just, how many times did I have to say it for me to get comfortable to say,
Right, yeah. 3 times.
It's all about it's all about being comfortable about what you're
Are
doing.
you doing 2 now?
Yeah.
3 times. You going for 2 now?
Go.
All right, so you seem like you always know this little strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before you go out, do you prospect a part of the neighborhood and that's where you hit first, second, and third? Like, and what is your prospecting on those? What are you looking at as far as those
Good
prospects?
question. Great question. So I think that it's a mix. And sometimes we're door knocking a part of, we're definitely door knocking sections. We're not saying we're just going to this town to door knock. We're door knocking this neighborhood. Most of the time it's because we've got something relevant, because door knocking is so much better with relevant information. It's not as exciting when you're just going, here's a postcard saying, hi, it's me, I'm Pharoah, you want to see a May, I do real estate, great. And they'll take it and then probably throw it away right away. But when you're door knocking, like, hey, look, when you're door knocking something like this, it's kind of like, all right, let me ask you a few questions on this thing before you leave. And let me put it for some of the people looking online. Like, this is powerful stuff right here. And it helps that we're a good looking team. I mean, check it out. And this is powerful stuff right here.
That's how you made it for 150, 150. That's why.
Yeah, America's Next Top Real Estate. There it is. So-
You don't have that, Steve. You don't have that.
That's a great question. I like that question so much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, thanks for that.
So I'm not recommending you to do this in North Bergen.
You pass
What I said in the
out.
last class, if you come from North Bergen doing all this, now we're competitors. and we don't play nice in the sandbox. I can promise you that one. Pass that one around. I got a couple more. But she had a great question. And I think that these, when I haven't done it, or if I'm still a young agent, questions are the most important, because this is the hardest time to do it. But you can leverage who you're working with. So as cool as it is to be the top team and top agent in an office, it's sometimes cool to be in a good office, because now you can lean on what your office is doing, right? So a lot of people should be picking their office, and I hope they pick this office because of how big they saw know who was going. And that's why they came here. But there's also some big time agents in this office, and I think you can lean on this. Because anytime you speak, you can say we, and we can include everyone in this office. We have sold this amount of properties in your neighborhood. You could door knock Saddle River or Upper Saddle River, right, where Tony's killing it with these $3-4 million houses, and say, my office is probably the #1 office in this town. We've sold this many houses, and this is how much KW City Views does in Upper Saddle River. I door knock other people's listings. I was building a business, didn't have anything else to door knock at that moment. And I was like, well, our office has sold 5 houses in this neighborhood in the last 6 months, or in the last month, or the last 2 months. None of them are mine. They're not mine, but KW City Views, or at my time, KW Team Realty, or before that, I remember my KW office in North Bergen. What was it? I forgot it too. It was that long ago. It was like 15 years ago. We were KW North Bergen. But either way, I was leaning on them, because in my office, the broker was the biggest agent to ever come out of my town. It's like Muhammad Abbasi. He was a beast and like a role model. And all I ever wanted to be, it was be like that #1 guy in town. And now I'm that #1 guy in town. Thankful to, 20 years of work, and my team also hitting the streets every day. And I think that leveraging what your office is doing is very important, but I don't think it's illegal also to leverage any sales in any neighborhood from any office.
It isn't. I saw your woman of where I live. She took other people, because I did a lot of
Yes.
research on her.
Yes.
Like, what is she doing?
Mhm.
None of those listen to hers. She had like all on the right, so that's.
Are we lying? Can we create value saying, look, these are the houses that have
Everybody's
sold?
listings, and it wasn't
in your
even in her,
market.
wasn't even in her own office. She took other people's listings. But all she was smart. She said, this is what sold, what just
It's
sold.
all about the language and how you present it. Just like when
Yeah.
I'm knocking, I'm saying, I'm not trying to sell anything. Well, why else would I be out there real estate agent? All we do is sell houses, so it's like, you get it, but you also have to understand that I'm not lying to you either. I'm not trying to sell you something today. I'd like to sell something for you tomorrow, though. So what you just explained is the perfect answer to your question, is that you can go to any market, any neighborhood, and print out all the sales that they've done in that neighborhood and say, this is what's happening in your market. And most of those agents doing most of those sales, they don't even care. And they're not even gonna do that work. They're gonna wait for their phone to ring. Because a top agent in some towns is cool, but it's really not that big of a deal sometimes. Sometimes you're the top agent of a pagoda, or, I'm just referring to like smaller Bergen County towns in the area. It's like, okay, I'm a top agent there, but like, that doesn't even make you a top 10 agent in your own office. So it's like,
And those top agents are not knocking on doors.
no,
Anybody's door.
no,
They're
that's
not.
what I'm
They have
telling
their-
you. 9 out of 10 are in year 4, year 5, phones ringing. I'm living off my sphere now. I'm waiting for my phone to ring, which is cool. But like, you can't get to like 50 million, 100 million, if that's your goal, or even 20, 15 million sometimes by just waiting and depending on your phone to ring. You could probably do some decent numbers, but not anything out of this world. You're not gonna compete against me, just waiting for your phone to ring, even if you have a powerful sphere. So these are also examples of door knocking things that we do where we decide, like in the morning, what neighborhood we're gonna door knock. And someone on the team will put these together like day of, and we'll just go door knock these. And some of these are just as good as that big postcard that was like $2.50. This is something that we printed for free here in the office. Thank you, Get Every City News. And we door knocked it that day. He said, you know what, that's Midtown North Bergen. So we're gonna go, hey, we just did a bunch of sales in Midtown North Bergen, so we got some super relevant, exciting information to door knock them with. Let's go door knocking now.
Get this off command.
Yes,
Did we?
Yeah.
Yes,
yes.
yes. Want to hear something
Command
cool, like
design.
real life stuff?
Yeah.
You want to hear something super dope? Something real life about this? This door knocker was made like a month ago. I'll pass this around.
I could use anybody's system, but.
Yeah, just not mine, North Bergen.
I'm
Seriously though, it's like, we want these, and they're like, yeah, what's a good one? We need a good one
Okay, do
today.
you have buyers for North Bergen right now? Because I have only one this in North Bergen, sorry.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you do? To
Yeah.
sell it, to sell it,
No problem.
it's been on the water, it's been there dropping off.
If it's been on the market, North Bergen for a while, it's
I know
overpriced.
that, I
There's
know
no other way
that,
to
I
do
know
it.
that.
Everywhere.
You can't even get over that.
I
Like,
can't,
if it lasts 10 days, people are looking at it like, what's wrong with that?
yeah.
My career, it was like, if I could sell it in 90, I was like, euro. And then this last 2 years, it's like, oh, it's been on 2 weekends, what's going on? I'm
Submit
like,
the
all right,
offer, submit an offer,
Yeah.
somebody, please.
all right,
Because
we'll
you
look
won't-
into it.
it's not lower.
But, so that little cheesy flyer that we did on a whim, because we decided to do Midtown North Bergen that day, and we usually always go with a team. I think it's also very important to go with the team for 2 reasons. Just a little bit of morale. You see them, someone else hustling. I did it a lot of times by myself and it wasn't as exciting, but as I started getting deals from it, it became more exciting. And I think that's happened with the team. They start seeing listings and things happening, money being made, like, all right, let's go door knock. I'll go by myself if I have to. But it's also safer. You never know what kind of environment you're in, so it's always good to have someone go with you so you feel a little bit safer and there's someone that's kind of looking over your back. And sometimes when people see a group door knocking different houses, they're less alarmed than just one person coming to their door. It's going like, maybe they think you're a Jehovah's Witness or something like that.
We
Or
wrote
when
the
you guys
t-shirt.
go- Yeah, we try to, that's why we try to get as much branding as possible too. We brand heavy. We've got jackets, sweatshirts, hats, fanny packs, you name it. So that when we show up, it's got a little bit of swag to it, and then also a little bit of, okay, then they're not trying to sell me anything, so at least I can loosen up a little bit. But the coolest thing about that flyer right there, that exact flyer, we door knocked about a month ago. So we door knocked it as a team. How many people went out that day? You know the story I'm gonna tell, right? So 4 people went out, door knocked that a month ago. That exact flyer. The next day, Louisa gets a call. We want you to sell our 2-family. We saw you sold those, I want you to do a CMA. 4 or 5 days later, Louisa and I go for that CMA. Knock it dead, because a big part of what I bring to my team, because everyone brings something, is that I can convert high rate. You get them, I'll knock them down, and that's how we work as a team. So when you get me to a CMA in North Bergen, we're already getting ready to take photos before I even show up. That's how we're coming. That's the energy we bring, and that's how we talk. I start talking like it's our listing as soon as I get there. And if they don't correct me, that's how it's gonna go for the rest of the thing. Like when we listed, or you know what, we have to do a few things before we get it ready for sale. When are you thinking about selling? When do you think you want to list it? Because we gotta get in our schedule, because we have to invest time and money to even understand that. And sometimes your time and money are the same damn thing, because time is money and my time's expensive. So it's like, I'm here investing time and money as we speak. But also we're gonna be getting photos, video. It's competitive now. You can't pay a guy $100 and just get photos or just use your iPhone and compete for some of the better listing. We're doing like little mini movies, and then we're putting them on Facebook, and we're trying to, I'm talking about algorithms, these people, like, it's out of this world, you know, the spiel, which gets us the listing. But Louisa got that listing. She listed it last Monday. We got 30,000 over ask. We put it at we got 20,000. We put it at 809. We got 830 with like backups up the wazoo, waiving everything. We're under contract. So from the day we met them to the day we got into a turn review was 5 weeks. Their father owns the house next door. We're listing it like, yeah, just sick. I mean, come on, 1.6 million in listing. And we didn't double end this one, but if we double end the other one, we're at 1.6 million in listings. Plus another, if we double end that sale, that has that $2.4 million of business on a, how long did you guys door knock that day?
It was cold. It was cold.
We're not freezing the snow. Danny has the best snow, freezing cold stories in the business.
So an hour that day, like,
1 hour of door knocking. We made the flyer day of. I don't want to hear excuses, bro.
No.
I do not want to hear excuses, because we put that flyer together in 15 minutes. We printed it for free in the office. We door knocked for an hour for people. Now we've got 2.4 million on the table in sales 5 weeks later.
do you guys sell this?
That's a regular story.
Actually, that
saw
was
that.
the one time I was thinking, let's do one more block before we go. And
You always
sometimes
do the last
when
block.
I get done, all right,
Yeah.
a couple more houses.
Yeah.
And those couple more houses are the ones.
This is why we door knocking team. If Danny's giving you this energy at the end, you're gonna go do the extra door knock.
So what do you knock and you say, hey.
I'm gonna sell you now.
I'm not trying to sell it.
So
This is his speech.
Are people
You
like,
just said,
what is it, what do you get back? Like, what's the word?
you want to get my pitch for this?
What's the
You
response? What is?
want to get my pitch for this?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what it is now. So this one's pretty cool because we sold 2 buildings in this neighborhood, and we still have signs on those buildings. Actually, one of them flew away. Danny put the sign up too. Shout out to Danny putting a sign up on like a 5-story building hanging off the edge. And then most of these sales are recent, and the most important thing, these sales push the market, which the one that Louisa got is pushing the market again. So we're gonna go door knock all these people again. Like, sometimes your business will determine why you're door knocking these people. So I think it was one of you that asked me like, oh no, Nico asked like, what's the strategy? The strategy is like, where are we most relevant today? Let's go door knock there. Or where's the last time? Who hasn't seen us in the longest? That's our strategy, I think, at the end of the day. If we've got something relevant, let's go hit them with something relevant right away. I'd rather hit the same area because we're killing it all the time than worry about trying to jump to another area to plant a few seeds, which we'll try to do. But if we're killing it, we got to keep killing it. So just like, I want the people to see here too, you know, we got 2 building sales, but the most important thing and the reason why we really door knocked is because this sale right here had just closed like the week prior. Mike sold this, highest 2-family sale in the neighborhood. Probably, when we say high sales in neighborhoods now, we just mean high sales ever, because we're in a place in the market where you're breaking a record with every sale basically. So we really want to door knock that. So the spiel is, hello, my name's Pharoah Lozano. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Local realtor. I've been selling in this town for 20 years. We've been killing it. And I want to give you some useful information. Maybe you can use it, maybe you can't. You can take it, you can shake hands, say goodbye, or if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. That's it, done. That's it, that's my script. Okay?
When you ever slam the door in your face?
All the time.
All the time. They put a flyer out, then you gotta go pick up the flyer from the trash, and keep it pushing.
Yeah, keep it moving. Because we're converting at a high rate. So it's like, if I can get in front of more people and cancel this guy out and post it to the next time someone's gonna either let me in their house. I mean, usually when door knock, we'll always get like a couple tours of houses.
Yeah.
Once you give us a tour of your house, it's our listing at some point. You're not getting away. What?
I'm saying to like break down and cry, because I think I cried.
There's been tears, man. There's been tears in
I
this
think I
business.
cried.
You know, I'm not much of a crier, but there's tears in this business.
Do you do your own, I mean, I'm sure you have, like where you live, like do you go down the street, like, yeah, I'm your neighbor, I live down the street right there.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
I think some people should. There was a point where Mike and I both lived on the same block, so it's kind of like, who's gonna be the neighbor? But, honestly, I've never done that because I want a little bit of peace at home, because people want to know. I get it already because I've been door knocking for so long in town that if I go anywhere, people are gonna approach me. But it's like I built that brand, so now it's like, how are you gonna really replace me? How are you gonna come and take that spot that I have in this town after I put 20 years in? It's like the next competition is like hasn't even started yet. So it's like, how are you really gonna take that spot? And you guys could be the same way. It's like, how have I put in 10 years into one town? And I found ways to get in front of people. So now I'm at the grocery store, at the gas station, at a political event, at a fundraiser, and these people just see me and they know me. It's like, man, that's me just saying I'm living off my sphere now, but it's like it's not the same as living off your sphere in year 5. I'm living off my sphere in year 19. It's a different sphere. And I earned it by putting in all this work. It wasn't like just because I knew these people because my dad was the mayor, whatever the case may be. So when I give people that, people want to know, hey, that's sold for 7.7. But like my house looks exactly the same, which is cool about Hudson County. It's like 4 types of houses. So it's like weird. I just show me the Google map, I'll tell you how much the house is, unless barring like 3 factors. So these people saw our 7.7 and they're like, but I think our house is on a better block and it's nicer. I think we can get more money. You think you can come and look? And we look, and every she said was right. I said, you can't get more money. We should break another record with your house. And 5 weeks later, we're under contract for a new record that's gonna get door knocked as soon as we close this one. We can even door knock under contract if we really wanted to.
So you're being your agent.
Yes,
Say this house is better or whatever, you see me on the spot.
yes.
How can I come prepared?
Okay, good question. First, I don't want to do CMAs on the spot. I really don't. I'm probably the only one that will do it. Only because I'm on like repetition 10,000. So it's like, I kind of know what's gonna happen. Even I can be wrong sometimes. I don't even like to do it like that. Because what I want to do is ask for it. I want us to build this little rapport, and then I want to schedule another appointment. Because that second appointment is more real. They've had time to think about it. We've built up some time. I can get my guns together, like, all right, this, all these comps, and I'm gonna come back for what's a realistic presentation. On the spot's cool, but on the spot could burn you. You could on the spot something that they think is too low and you're out, or whatever the case may be. And before I give people numbers, I ask a lot of questions. Like, I want to come back again prepared, and I want to just ask questions for like 20 minutes. That's not this presentation. Just asking questions,
Like what?
getting information.
Yeah.
Do you have a list of questions, or do you just go?
I can give you some now.
Yeah.
I can do some now.
Oh, yeah, I just have a question about going back to the neighborhood.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
I did my own neighborhood, people
Okay.
are willing to talk to me, because I say, hey, I live in a house right over there, and they're like,
Yes,
oh, you do, okay. And so they'll give me their email, they'll give
love
me
that.
their phone number and things
that's
like that.
powerful.
Okay, so now I need to follow up, I've got
Yes.
everything.
Yes,
Is it best to follow up with like, hey, thanks for talking to me, here's my card, because
one way,
the flyer I gave them is probably, gone by
Yes.
now.
of course.
And so.
Danny has a group, he does similar to that, that was super cool. Do you by any chance have any of those? You know who you're working with those cards? He's gonna bring them. Danny does it more than anybody. Have you been doing it? Be honest, Shara, have you?
No,
really, Danny's been doing it,
I have a couple of.
and Danny makes a connection. Because sometimes you're just hitting people to hit people, and that's cool. But if you can make a few connections, we're trying to build on the connections more than
Right,
anything.
especially
So
in my neighborhood, they're gonna see.
I
me,
love it.
see me.
I love it. I love it. But the follow-up could be most importantly. What's most valuable? Like, where can we find value? You want to know a good follow-up? Doesn't have to be you, doesn't have to be anyone from the office. This house just sold.
So that's what, should I throw this in my thank you saying, hey, this was
Without
so.
a doubt. I love that. So Danny's been killing it with these, and I love this. One, like, our team name is so dope. So like, we can use it like as like a verb. So it's like, know who you're working with. And I think that's so cool. And Danny made this, and then look, bang, a little note. There's Danny's info. That's the little sticker you put on the envelope. So like, we can pass that around. Make sure Danny gets those back. I'm sure you take those stickers. But Danny will follow up with just like a little hand wring.
Yeah, that's what I
But
was.
the follow-up is everything. I'm not finished with the follow-up. The follow-up is everything. We can all door knock and have a good old time, but you're not gonna get a listing that day 99% of the time.
Right.
It's getting your touches, getting into a house, getting someone's info, someone that felt real, and then getting back to them with a different source. It could be a mailer like Danny's doing. It could be a follow-up door knock with some relevant information. It could be an email. It could be adding them to your database and you get like things like, I don't know if you guys have done a lot of Keller Williams training, but something very popular with them are like 33 touches, 8x8s, 10 by, these are drip campaigns that can be done automated. You don't do anything. You put their information to the database and then set them up for the 33 touch, and you're not doing anything from that point on. But if we can hit that from a couple different ways, a couple different times,
Yeah.
your chance of turning that into a listing when they're ready, because not everybody you doing on is going to be like, oh, great, you're doing on, ready to move tomorrow. But if you can get that going and be hitting them with different channels and different ways, then when it's time for them to sell, you're not in a listing appointment. I don't even care. Remember last time we competed against other people on listing appointments. It's like, I'm here with the paperwork. That's my listing appointment. Like, here's the listing. We're gonna talk a little bit, you're gonna sign it, and then we're gonna add it to our coming soon listing. That's it. I'm not competing against anybody else. Because we did all the work already. Like, why are we competing against agents? We're the ones who've been in contact with these people for 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. We're the people who know that their daughter is moving to Florida.
You say that to them? We're not competing with anybody else?
No, I'm saying when people call us
Right.
that we've been following up with, we're not competing. They're not saying, oh, I want to bring you in for a listing appointment and I'm going to be interviewing other agents. They're calling you because you have a relationship. They're saying, what's your first name again?
Oh my God. Alice,
I'm bad with names. I know faces.
Call us Stab City.
I don't remember a face forever.
Alice.
But what was it?
Alice.
So
One out.
they have a relationship with Allison, they're not a relationship with these other agents. So if you follow up properly, if you're not a salesman trying to push, but you're just following them up, giving them value constantly, you're their listing agent already. They don't know it, but you should know it.
Right.
You're their agent.
I am.
That's it. If they need to go buy something else in order to sell, your whole script needs to change to, all right, you know what? Let's start looking at some places first. Who cares about selling a house? We can do that later. I'm more care about what do you need? What is it that you're looking for? Oh, you need to move? That's what your need is, not to sell your house, but to go somewhere else? What are you thinking? Oh, well, okay, well, let's look at a few of those towns. Let's go on some showings. The hire did that last week on a door knock. And then we did a CMA yesterday, 2 days ago, for like an $800,000 listing. But it's like, that's my agent now, that's my client. And if I go take you on condos and see your future, and we're going to go see condos, the listing is done. It's already your listing. Get them what they want. Get people what they need. We can't be looking to make commission, as crazy as it sounds. We're looking to help people. The money comes. You help 100 people in a year, you got plenty of money and favors and anything else you need, and a network and a sphere. Oh, sure.
Whoever's relevant, if somebody's telling me FO, I'm like,
FO. That's our favorite comment. That's our team slogan.
You know, you can have your question.
Hey, Neville. Neville's been sneaking a couple. Keeping an eye on you. Don't get too cute.
Hi, Pharoah. I'm sorry, I wanted to come in person, but I couldn't make it. I don't know if you talked about this. It's kind of hard to hear, on Zoom. Basically, you deliver your flyer in person when you door knock. And are you able to get their information right there? Like their email or their information? What do you tell them?
I think there's a couple ways to do it, and probably most of the time people don't always want to meet you on the door knock and right away give you all their personal information. She used a perfect example of them doing that. I think a good factor was that she lives in the neighborhood, so maybe they had a little bit of a higher level of comfortability. But this is what we're trying to do. Can we make a connection with these people, period? Can we have a few laughs? Can we find out something about them that we can take notes on, write down their address, go back up to their tax records, for instance, and say, oh, wow, they bought this house. They don't owe anything on it. Or
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And then.
or can we get some notes so that we can follow up on another door knock? Sometimes people on the team will take a photo of the house, write down the address in their notes, and take all the notes on these people so that when we reach back out to them, we're already friends. Hey, Alicia, what's going on? Is your daughter get into school? Okay, great, awesome. Guess what? I'm listing a house this week, like 4 houses away. Why don't you come and just check it out? I know you want to see what's inside, see what it sells for, give you a good idea what you're going for, do a lot better than Zillow's estimates will ever do for you. Does that sound cool? Okay, cool. So that's our way. I don't necessarily need to get their phone number or email to do that. I'd like to have it, but if they're not ready to give it, I already know where they live. I can find out all the information on the tax records or whatever they give me, and then I can go door knock them again. And that second door knock is a warm door knock. There's cold door knocks, just like there's cold calls. And there's warm door knocks, just like there's warm calls. And I think that as people start getting comfortable seeing you, they're also not like, oh my God, they're like, okay, what did Pharoah sell this time? Or what did Danny, or what did Yahira or Lisa or Mike sell this time? And I think that sometimes you build this rapport where you're walking down the street. Hey, Danny was walking down the Prospect down Bergen Line, walking her home with her groceries last week randomly. Because she was like, hey, Danny, what's going on? And we've been working on her listing for about a year now. But when she's ready to sell officially, I mean, Danny's not going to a listing appointment. It's like, here comes bring the paperwork. Like, we're really trying to get to that step. Like, a lot of our training is like, okay, listing presentation and how we're going to battle. But it's like, if you do all this other work prior, your listing presentation is like, hey, here's the paperwork. Let's look at the house again, because I've already probably snuck in there once or twice already on a doorknob. And let's get all the details, iron out commission, listing date, listing price. Well, it's not like, oh, go with me instead of that other agent you're doing in 30 minutes. Like, we're not doing that.
It's so funny because I just say last night I was in here trying to prep something for a preview.
Yeah.
And Lisa, bless her heart.
Yeah.
She was, I mean, we were here until like 8:30.
No way.
She was still here, but
That's awesome.
and she was like, I'm not kids, I'm not married, whatever.
Lisa's a grind.
She, when I tell you,
She's grinding right
I've seen
now.
her every
Grinding
single
right now.
day. Here, if I come on a Sunday,
She's
Saturday, Tuesday.
Lisa's killing it.
But
Lisa's 24 years old. So
yeah, she was awesome. And she was so helpful.
Yeah.
And she supported, like, we were just like,
Good.
do it.
Good.
But she said, I said, well, I was asking her about like something like that. And she was like, yeah, we're not taught, like, you know, our people, Pharoah, he said, just go in and just get it. You don't need all this, like,
Yeah.
you go get it. And I was like.
That doesn't mean we don't, if we have to, we have to, and we'll whip out all the things and we'll prepare one. But yeah, we're really like, we can't be looking at it like we're ready to compete against other agents. We're trying to put ourselves in spots where we don't even have to compete.
Yeah.
And you don't have to compete when people see that you're genuine, you're hustling, you're there, you're calling them, you're asking for business. A lot of people don't even want to ask for business. It's like, we're only here talking for 2 hours. It's like, all right, take care. Okay, so I'll ask for business in the next go around. Why are we here? Like, we're not secret agents. I'm not an FBI. Like, when I show up, I'm here to sell houses, you know it. So it's like, I don't want to be too delicate either. Like, hey, well, are you going to list your house with me? And if so, when are we going to list it? And just be quiet. Most people are just going to go, some people talk themselves out of their own pictures. Oh, but I do understand if you're not ready. No. But are you listing your house with me? And then I wait for an answer.
Are you making notes on the house that you're going at?
Yes. And if you don't make notes, you're not going to be able to get organized, and then your follow-up's not going to be strong. And without your follow-up, you're just wasting time doing anything, not just door knocking, prospect. If you're just trying to go off your memory and feel, it's like there's no.
So are you taking notes for those that seem interested?
I think I'm taking notes on as much as possible on everything, especially listings that I really want. Like, if I can get like a 30-second conversation with someone that has a house that I know in the back of my head is like $1 million house, I'm taking notes because if they're not ready, I want to get them ready, or I want to be there when they are ready. So I'm looking at the tax records. I want to know how much they bought it for, so I know that if they're going to be real tough on price and commission, because usually people have a little bit of equity. Those are your for sale by owners. people aren't for sale by owners because they want to. People are for sale by owners because usually they feel like they have to, or they think they're smarter than they are. Those are the only two options. There's not a third one.
What do you do? They don't need the money, but they're for sale by owner.
Then they're not motivated, and unmotivated sellers are like the kryptonite of real estate. Like they will really make you feel good about putting a sign out and just, how many listings have I turned down?
Yeah.
And then we go drive by, and I look for them with their sign out, they're not gonna ever sell that house. If you turn that into a hustle, good too. There's a couple agents who are like, seller, you tell me how much it is, I'll put it out there and I'll work it hard.
Yeah.
And great, but if you wanna do that, hey, at least get your sign out, door knock the neighborhood, find a way to get a deal out of it, and just be like, look, I'm probably not gonna sell this house, or get a good plan on how we're gonna eventually get these people real and realistic. And it's easier to get real motivated sellers to sell houses than people that just wanna sell to sell. And we gotta find out their motivation. This is all training, none of this stuff I made up or figured out. I've been to class after class, going to bowl again, with my third bowl. And I've taken class, I have tens of thousands of dollars in education, period. I've gone to family reunions, I've gone to mega camp, I've done it all. I've learned from some of the best. And I think that a lot of my skill set is things that I've learned and now I'm able to implement because I'm not too focused on doing these things anymore. These are gut reactions that I'm having to information.
What's your,
Damn house, and well, it's all.
system like, print a flyer, go door knock.
Yeah,
Follow up.
okay.
What does it look like?
All right, so this one, I'll walk you through this one. Guys, the weather's gonna be pretty good the next couple of days. Just make sure we door knock them. Cool. I think the team door knocked like 3 days last week. 4 days. Let's do Midtown because I just sold, this is Mike in our chat. Let's do Midtown, but I just sold that house for 770. That's the highest price. And it broke our other one, which we sold 3 doors down for 700. So on one block, we got 1.47 in sales. And so whoever was at the office, like, all right, I'll put one of these together real quick, we'll go door knocking. So you print these out. Now you have to be realistic. You're not gonna want to door knock for 4 hours. And hitting 20 houses on a door knock takes up more time than you think. Like you'll be there like, damn, sorry, in 2 hours, I only saw 20 people. So it's like, print out 20, 30 if you're by yourself. And I would door knock until you run out.
Okay.
That way you're not looking at the time and just going, okay, I got 21.
So just go door knock, so you only give it pendant or do with them in their door.
I don't like to leave them in the door because I see people in my market do these door knockers and leave them. They never get listings. I'm like, why are you guys still doing this? I got all the listings. You guys don't have any listings. You guys put a thing on so they can go call me or talk to me when I door knock it. It's like,
That takes a personal connection.
there's no personal connection. So you're just a waste of paper and people think it works and it doesn't. Like I don't see these guys getting listings. If I saw them, I'd be like, hey, maybe we gotta start doing this. But I'm looking, I'm like, where's your listings? You guys have left the door knock at every house in West Virginia. There's not one listing to show for it, not one. It's like, it doesn't work. So we're only giving them to if we see somebody. No, don't leave it. Don't leave it. Don't leave it. Look, you could leave it. You could leave it. You could leave it, and there's a chance. It's not gonna hurt you, but I want to make the connection. It's the people, and it's not the numbers. It's like how many people can we speak to so they can look me in the eye.
Why has it, your experience going? Wait.
Let me get him because you have to be an asshole.
There a time that works better for you or not?
The town.
No, it's
Time.
Honestly, I don't think we found a perfect time yet.
You know.
You can get deals in the middle of the day because people got time in the middle of the day. If they're home, they're like, we can do this for an hour if you want. At 5 or 6, there's people like, I got kids, we're doing dinner, like, sorry, buddy, like, slam the door.
For me, it's weather. When it's
Weather's a
snowing,
factor.
hot, really hot,
Yeah,
and raining.
yes,
And
yes.
Yeah,
When it's raining.
Well,
you
raining is
follow,
the day
you
when
wait
you
for
do
the
the
rain,
house.
you fix your
There
fire,
it is.
you're like,
There it is. Really hot days are tough because like your armpits are like.
I would be like, sit off and you go there. I feel bad for you.
Yes, they do though. Dude, we've gotten sympathy listings. We've gotten like respect listings. We've gotten it all and there's no bad time to door knock. I promise you, I haven't found a bad time yet.
How about the, like you go to like you go to a house that's like senior there, he's like a widow or something, and he
Okay.
can't stop talking
talking. Why are they like that now? How do you get
I'm still
out?
trying to figure that out. Our
Oh,
CMA a couple days ago with, when you hire as an seller, it was 2.5 hours in, and I'm like, my schedule doesn't fit 3 hour listing appointment. So it's like, we said bye like 5 times. I think 5 buys get the old person, like, get you out of the door, like 5
You know,
buys.
that's
2 cups of coffee,
goodbye.
2 cups of
Yeah.
coffee.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how long I was there for.
Oh,
I was like, I don't know one other cup of coffee, but they had these little briskets and I was killing it. I ended up eating my lunch, 2 cups of coffee and like 12 briskets.
We like
So we're gonna get that listing for 800. We're gonna try to double pop that thing for 1.6 and on to the next one. I promise you that's the mindset.
The
So
party,
it's like,
whether
it
it's
is.
or not.
Yes.
Spoke to them.
Okay. Now, make your note, get whatever information you can. Now, you need, what we do is, we store our good door knocking leads in our meeting minutes. Every week, we add them or take them off. You know how they get taken off? When they become a listing. And we do a round of applause. If you can get some people, my door knocking list is like this, and I hope Mike is watching, you can Slack it. But everyone else's door knocking list is like this. And when we can scratch one off and put it into the coming soon, that's a round of applause. So it's like, we're trying to build like pages of door knocking leads. And some of them we don't have emails for, some of them we don't have phone numbers for, some of them just have our notes. And that's enough, let me tell you, that will be enough. But if you can really do it, which is planning, best case scenario is I door knock and I get some relevant information, a phone number or email, okay? I then go home, I put it into Command. Now in Command, I put these people on a 33 touch drip campaign that I just click enter, click, and never do anything again. So now they're gonna get 33 touches from me. Then I'm gonna come with a plan. My plan is I'm gonna follow up with them at least quarterly, regardless of whatever happens. Whenever something valuable comes into the neighborhood. Or when we have open houses. I'm door knocking them, so they come see how we sell houses. That can be it. That can be it. If you don't have a lot of your own transactions, then you're setting them up with, hey, look, there's an open house in your neighborhood. Let me know if you'd like to go check it out. You know, I'm looking to buy, sell, or rent in your neighborhood. Or look, this house just sold from a neighborhood. I don't know if you're interested in checking it out, or if you want to talk about it, I can let you know like how the house was and why it sold at this price, and how many bids were on it, and things like that. Because we have to prey on the nosiness of the neighbors, because neighbors want to know. You know, like people want to know what their house is worth. They want to know what the neighbor's house looks like. And if we can continue to play on that, then we can be like the real life Zillow. Because Zillow, that's all they are. Everyone wants to know what everyone else is selling for and doing, and we can be that source too. And Command makes you, gives you an ability to basically do all these things. I mean, Command is a powerful tool.
Your experience with FISBOs.
Yeah.
How has that been?
FISBOs are the harder to convert than Inspires.
And how has it been for you guys?
Louisa's been working FISBOs the hardest, but what she had to realize is that FISBOs can't always be converted right on the spot. FISBOs, they're usually a FISBO for a reason, and you need to find that out as soon as possible, because most FISBOs are there because, oh, I'm not really that motivated, I'm putting a crazy price, if I get it, I get it. Or, oh, you know, I did a second mortgage, I got no equity on it, I can't afford to pay a commission. Or they're just the smartest guy. Thank you for coming, brother. Or they're the smartest guy in the room, and they think they can get it done, and then it's up to it's your job kind of to figure out, all right, well, are you doing it right? Can you do it right? Or do you know this? Do you know that? This is me asking questions again. Like, do you know how to handle inspection? Do you think you're gonna appraise? Yeah, how do you think you're gonna appraise? And I mean, a 5-minute conversation with the average FISBO, you can already prove to them, you know so much more about them, about selling a house than they do, and you're so much more well-equipped to do it than they can. And then you gotta follow up with them. So you need, if you're working FISBOs, you need like 20 FISBOs that you're working, so that you can start converting maybe 1 out of 10. You pull 2 listings out of 20 FISBOs in your database, and that's not bad. That won't be bad. 1 out of 10 is not bad.
Yeah.
Do you do your homework before you door knock or you manually choose any home? I would say it's a mix, because we aren't necessarily doing homework on a specific house. We're more doing homework on a specific neighborhood, and then we're going to door knock that neighborhood with a specific purpose. Usually it's gonna be that we just set a new record in the neighborhood, we just got a new listing, we've got an open house on Saturday and Sunday, and that's a way that we can target them. I don't think that the purpose should be to do a whole bunch of work and not know where you're gonna get the listing from, especially for door knocking. You can do all this homework on a whole neighborhood and no one's looking to sell at that moment. So that time could have been used more valuably, just getting out there and meeting these people and then doing homework when the time is right. And then we also do days where we're just target door knocking. We're not doing a neighborhood. We're just door knocking all these people that are on our list to get a touch in, just because we haven't gotten a touch in. And I think that's another way to do it. The key is not to put too many hurdles in front of you and door knocking. A lot of people find the excuses and the hurdles and not get out there. It's the weather today. It's, I don't have anything to door knock them about. We always have something to door knock them about. It's, I'm nervous. It's, I don't have a quality postcard. It's, I didn't do my home. No, it's like, you can be an agent, get a license tomorrow, door knock sales from our neighborhood, and there's a chance you can get a listing in like your first 3 days of real estate. And that's not just like you making it up. There's nothing to stop you. You say, I got my license, I can go door knock the next day and say, hey, I have three houses were sold in your neighborhood, all from my office, KW City Views. Do you think you'd be interested in finding anything out about these houses? Or you'd like me to take a look at yours, give you an idea? And there's a chance someone just comes in and says, yeah, come and check it out. And then they're like, really, I can get this much? Okay, let's list it. And you come back for a listing appointment that in your first week of real estate. Is it gonna always happen that way? No, but is it realistic that it can happen? Yeah, possible. And I don't think you need to have all these hurdles to get into it. And the more you do it, and once you land a listing, you're gonna have door knocking energy, for sure. Also, I didn't touch on this, but door knocking is not necessarily legal in every town. And yeah, in my career, I've only gotten one soliciting license my whole career. I've been door knocking for about 15 years. And it was in Fairview, New Jersey, and I ended up just getting a soliciting license in like a couple months, and that was no problem at all. There's probably towns where it's not allowed, but people aren't really calling the cops on you or anything. I think also the way you door knock will be a factor on how people treat you. And if you can come in there, I'm not selling anything, try to have a casual conversation with some good questions, get you good information. And then if they want to end it, you just go, hey, thank you. I don't want to waste more of your time. You initiate the exit. I think people aren't gonna have any problem with you coming in at all.
You only door knock in Morgan, Union City, that area?
When I was earlier in my career, I was door knocking a lot of towns, just in general, based on whatever expired there was. Or I was door knocking just expires for a while throughout all of New Jersey. I was door knocking Fizbo's. Then I was door knocking neighborhoods where I had like relevant sales. And after a while, I was like, you know what? Let me just kill North Bergen. There's so many deals there for me that I don't have to do anything else. And it's like our money that we make in North Bergen, that's our easiest money. So it's like, is there more room for us to make more deals? Okay, let's go get them. Let's go get all these easy deals, because all the headache deals are out there. They're waiting for us. All the 20-person bidding wars, they're waiting for us too. Those are a dime a dozen. We can go to Bergen County right now, go in an open house, wait for 2 hours, lose a bidding war, do it again on Sunday, do it again, do it again. That's there. But our easiest money is where we built the biggest fan base and customer base and database. And so we're just pounding that because we need the deals. Where the deal is going to come from, let's put all our energy and money into where they'll come easiest. And then we're also going to get collateral deals because you sold their house here and now you're selling them a house in Bergen County or wherever else they're going. So deals create deals. Listings create more deals. So if you look at it like that, you can build a space where you're dealing for your door knocking or prospecting a place that's relevant through what your business looks like, what your business you want it to look like, and taking it from there. And it can take off. It's going to take time.
Can I ask you guys, can I shadow you guys one day? Because I've never done one.
Yeah, sure.
And I would love to do it. So I'd love to pop my cherry.
All right, Angel, when you door knock someone who is interested and wants to talk in greater detail on the first touch, are you extending the conversation, going inside, talking numbers right away? Are you writing down notes in front of them? Or do you keep mental note and write it down? All great questions, Angel. I would say, if I think that someone's interested, I'm going to try to get as much information from them as possible. Name, email, phone number, only for follow-up purposes. I'm trying to go inside at all costs. If I can get inside, that's my listing. That's it. I don't always want to talk numbers right away,
but I probably am comfortable doing it. You'll see me do it a lot, but it's because my rep count is so high. It's like I really know the numbers. If you're not totally comfortable with the numbers, I would hold off. Like, hey, look, I'd love to talk numbers with you, but I want to be as accurate and give you the most valuable information as possible. So let's set something up in like 2 or 3 days. I'll come in with all our comps and I'll be able to really break your property down so you can have an accurate number. And if you can't remember your notes, I would write them down. I have really good memory. So a lot of stuff I'm doing just in my head, and then I can just write it down at a later date or just pull it out whenever I need it. But there's nothing wrong with taking notes while you're going through a house. I think that it doesn't look bad at all. And I think that they think you're taking it serious. So I would go that route if that's what you're comfortable with. And be wary of talking numbers, because you could cancel yourself out just by your number not being realistic. And then they think you don't know anything about the neighborhood or the market. And then you're kind of like, oh, okay, he doesn't really know anything, but he is doing obvious, so that's cool. If you can nail the number, nail it. But if you can't, just schedule another CMA date so that you can really get in there and try to close them. And I'll be bringing prepared listing documents as well, so that by the time you answer all their questions and they answer all yours, hey, do you feel comfortable moving forward with me? Oh, well, you know what? I'm not looking to put it on the market just yet. That's fine. If you like, what I usually do, because this happens all the time, is that I post date my listing. So we can do a listing agreement now. We can post date it for another 30 or 60 days. It gives time for my team to get it into our schedule, for me to schedule staging, photography, so I can get my multi-social media marketing set up. And we can do all those things knowing that I have it in hand at some point, and it'll be easier for you and easier for me. Does that sound good? Something that we can do? Yes, no? If it's no, how come it's no?
You have the listing agreement, you have it with you, you've already filled it up.
Yeah, I usually almost always am coming with like, not with my team. I don't want to get them into that space yet, because it's a delicate space of, did you pull it out too early and you count here, and the clients are like, I wasn't even ready. And if I had the initial interaction, me personally, then I know what I'm dealing with and I'll bring it ready. If they had the initial reaction, and I don't know how that first door knock went, I'm gonna come in without a listing agreement ready, because I don't want to be presumptive, and I don't know if they had a light conversation and they thought it was like, we're definitely getting a listing, or just like, hey, you come and just give me a price. So if it's mine, I'm coming with listing paperwork, signed, sealed, and delivered. If it's not mine, I'll come with them and be like, hey, are you comfortable? Or sometimes be like, dude, I think you should bring it, because like the language was like, they're ready. If you tell me that, we're filling it out and we're going with that script of, let's sign it now. Even if you're not ready now, let's post date. So that when you are ready, I've got all my ducks in order, because I'm going to be investing time and money into your listing, and that will separate you, because a lot of people spend time and money and don't even talk about it. We got to remind these people of what it takes to sell houses and why we're valuable and what we put into our business. Because there's time and money invested every listing, every time. And that's why it's hard to take really, really overpriced listings, because it's just wasting time and money usually. They're expensive. Any other questions?
Is everyone routine from both rooms?
No. Mike, the only one.
What if there's a sign on the fence that says no soliciting?
We're not, Elvis, you forgot the first line. The first rule of Fight Club.
I'm trying to tell you.
Not trying to sell you anything. Is it a gray area? Yes. If you're an asshole, the
If it's too much, you definitely get arrested.
or if they have, but know your territory. Like, you can just go and get a soliciting license. It's not really that difficult. Most towns just give them out. Usually it's really a political thing. Most of soliciting is about politics. Or Jehovah's Witness, depending on what neighborhood. So it's like, in Hudson County, we don't get a lot of Jehovah's Witness. But in Bergen County, maybe you guys get them, I don't know.
Oh my God.
But they're not trying to mess with our streets, because they get what? But it's really about politics a lot of times. They want people that are licensed, that really say their information properly. So they want to know, when you get a soliciting license, you got to give them your real estate license, why you're doing it, and they'll give it to you. And there's almost very little vetting process. So if that's what you're worried about, take care of that right away. Go into your town hall and say, I want a soliciting license. Done. It's like $50. And what was cool is the way that they gave it to me, it was like the entire office. I'll tell you which town. I probably did already though.
Yeah.
But KW City Views had a 1-year soliciting license in a certain town. And it's because they gave it to me in that manner instead of me personally. It said, yeah, City Views. So anybody from that office can door knock that town and be covered under that solicitation, right? So that's just another hurdle that we gotta just move to the side. We gotta get to people, we gotta get face to face or phone to phone or house to house with people. And then if we do that long enough, we've got this really powerful business that's not dependent on 50% on buyers.
Don't leave your card inside.
Federal law.
Yeah.
It's a federal post mail law.
When
You know,
Ohio started going on,
Oh my
she
God.
left one in there.
Someone asked me if I cried, this was the only time I cried.
No, this is like, yeah. We'll stay up
This guy was like, how dare you? Who do you think you are? I'm like, oh my God, my life is like. It was like a very experience, it was an experience that was needed for me to learn what not to do and what to do. And also get coached by my team and, you know, people who are. No, I didn't actually. Never spoke to that guy.
But can you leave it in a, like, if you send a photo card, you put it in a card and put it in a.
No, if you mail it, I have to mail it. Yeah, I have to. It has to be stamped by the post office.
We just go there whenever.
Are people really gonna call the cops on you? Probably not. But I don't do it. I put them like on top of the mailbox.
Yeah.
Like this, someone asked, do I leave them sometimes? I definitely do leave them sometimes. Because there's like these houses that I've just been looking for year after year. I was like, they're never home, no matter what hour. So sometimes it's jam it like right by their mailbox, so they with their mail, they have to pull it out. And the more numbers you do, the more calls you start getting. So it's like you really want to do whatever it takes to get your numbers going so that your phone starts ringing. Because it's nice when you're a real estate agent, your phone's ringing. It's a great feeling. It's really good, like you're cooking. But if you can take that and say, okay, my phone's ringing, I got deals coming, and then find ways to get other deals, that's when you take it to the next level. That's when you're like a top level agent. When they found 3 or 4 ways to get deals and they're working all 3, 4 ways all the time. And then now they don't have these goals, but they're just trying to build a business kind of go like this. But real estate naturally just wants to go like, so if you can find ways to just get all these different deals coming all different ways, and then also see what your career looks like, what you feel it looks like. Like some people only want to be buyers agents, but there's some people who only do buyers, making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year just doing buyers. It's a business by design, so there's no one to tell you exactly how to do it. You're gonna be better at certain things than other people. There's no way to get around. I think that's it. Unless there anything you guys.
Not door knock.
We'll be checking, we'll be looking. Thank you, everybody.
You.
Thank you. Great class.
Thank you, Farah.
Thanks, Pharoah.
Thank you. This was great. Thank you so much.
Arabic.
Yo, who's that, Mike? Let me see some DJ.
It was me and you in a dark alley.